The placement of the head, and it feels comfortable to me. If I decided that it was too far to the right or too far to the left, this is the time to move it. Otherwise, you end up working the whole time to try to occupy this distance, which was too great to begin with. The last thing you want to do is decide you have to restretch your canvas or cut your board, although people have done it, including me. It's just not what you want to be doing. I'm going to find that nice cast shadow under the chin. There are two types of shadows. There's cast shadows and form shadows. And cast shadows, obviously, are those that are cast by an object breaking the path of the light. A form shadow is what happens when a round surface moves from light into shadow. It's a much softer edge. It's pretty uniform generally in its crispness. Cast shadows typically are marked by being sharper in the area next to the object that's casting the shadow and then becoming a little bit fuzzier as they move away. And you can exploit that in your painting to give a real strong sense of three dimensions. And I'll show you as we get to the shadow of the nose what I mean by that. Okay, eyebrows. Now that I've got these lines here, I want to get rid of things that might just get distracting as I move forward a little bit. And I'm just wiping them with a little bit of soft toweling. In making this next set of marks, I'm going to begin to separate the areas of light from the areas of shadow. There's a soft form shadow happening across the forehead. Margaret, would you please move that strand of hair? Thank you. This very soft form shadow here. There's a cast shadow right here that's pretty crisp near the nose, and I want to start to define where those areas meet. There's a nice, beautiful edge to the shadow where the front of the face meets the side of the face. It's just beautiful and graceful and shows the form of Margaret's face really nicely. I can also see a little bit of throat under the chin. A little bit of shadow under the chin and a very soft transition over here. So now that I've got that sort of carved out, I'm going to commit all of this shadow area to one tone of value. The ear is in shadow, the hair is in shadow. Just to get a little sense of what's happening with the light and dark patterns. There's some nice crispy darks right in here, right in here. There are times when I can take this drawing part and spend a whole day just because it's fun. But generally, I want to just know that I have enough of a roadmap as to where things are so that I can begin working with the color and a lot more of the modeling process that will happen throughout all of this. But before I do anything else, before I get ready to start color, it's important to commit right away to the background. Oftentimes people will leave the background and get it later, and they'll get it later, and it never quite works right. And that's because your brain can't help but make a judgment about color and value based on what's next to it. So if you're in an island of white, you can't help but make that decision about how dark something is based upon what it's next to. So in this case, I want to mix up some color for the background, which is a pretty nice neutral gray, kind of on the little bit on the dark middle side. To do that, I'll just mix a little bit of Portland gray medium and some black till I get at the darkness that I want. And then I want to get some areas that I place right up against the form, so I have something directly to compare everything to. When I work from life, if I intend to begin from life and finish from a photograph, what I like to do is mix up the color notes to represent different aspects of what I'm seeing in real life, because no matter how good my photograph might be, it's never the same as having a living person. In fact, you can take this on your palette knife and walk right up to the background. Once you mix the skin color, you can take that and walk right up next to the model's face. I just need to get enough in there so that I'm not badly confused about that light. Take that right up to and a little bit over what's happening with the hair. There are several color notes I always like to make when I have the benefit of seeing a living person in front of me, knowing that I'll never see those colors again. I like to do the background. I like to look at the skin and light, the skin and shadow, the clothing and light, the clothing and shadow, and the hair and light, and the hair and shadow. And with those color notes, and I will leave those right up against the edge until the very end. So if tomorrow I'm continuing this painting from a photograph, I know that I'm not going to look at the photograph's color, I'm going to look at this color, because that is the color that I actually observed when I was painting my model from life. All right, I'm going to look at mixing the color of the forehead right here. Everybody's skin is some version of orange, and I don't mean like pumpkin orange. It has some component of red and some component of yellow in it. It differs just like any other color with its three characteristics. It has a hue, it has a saturation, and it has a value. And so I would look at each person's skin and say, are they a little bit to the yellow side, a little bit to the red, or kind of in between? And Margaret has a natural auburn, red-headed sort of coloring in her structure. And I feel that this is a little bit towards the pink side. Not as pink as the area here. The chin and the forehead are going to be very similar in color. I'm looking at this area of